Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I am so pleased to introduce you to my guest today, a long-time healing conversation guest and now Quantum Conversations. Dr. Jean Logan is here with us, and Jean has been a beautiful presence in the healing circuit. She is the real deal when it comes to the healing glyphs that she offers. These healing glyphs have been instrumental, even in my own life and in the lives of so many around the planet. They are truly sacred and they are truly empowered by the angelic realm. Welcome back to Quantum Conversations. Jean, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Loren. And I was just, before we get started, I wanted to tell the audience out there that more than 10 years ago, when I had my first book, I wrote to Loren and told her, and she invited me to be on a show. And I was I didn't think she would really be interested, and I was overwhelmed. And we sold at the time, it was my first edition. It was $24.95, and we sold it for $22, and we did real well. And it's been a long, happy journey together, really. And I'm so grateful, Lauren.
And since that time, I'm grateful to you too, by the way, because since that time, we've heard from people all around the world. You've actually gotten out on the beautiful path, and this is out there to the world in a magical way. You now have your fourth book, and we're going to talk about that. Really, what these healing glyphs are, they are empowered. It's almost like a light language or a Reiki,
It is
and
all.
it's way more than that. You know, if you sleep with these glyphs, asthma symptoms go away, allergies go away. But on a much deeper level, it's emotional clearing, it's emotional happiness, it's all the trauma that we've been through that these glyphs really help us release from. So it really is amazing because even in our world right now today, there is a huge amount of fear coming up to be cleared, and a whole lot of the distorted programs that no longer serve our society. We're seeing this. And so you've given a glyph, and we'll make this available to everyone as well, the world peace glyph, right? You've used these glyphs for so many things. It really is endless. So let's start with your story, Jean, because literally this is, for those who don't know you, you literally use these in your own life, and you were able to forgive an ex-husband, right? These deep energies from a marriage, and you've transmuted all of it. And that transmutation actually heals the body, or allows the body to be in a very healing balance. So share your story about your personal journey in creating these glyphs.
Well, I want to just go back a quick. I was, as a child, I was so fearful. I was just the most fearful person. My mother would have to go and look under the bed for me and in the closet. And then all through grade school, I majored in fear. And in high school, I majored in fear. When I worked in education, so I like saw some writing on a blackboard. It was some script, and I felt like that was telling me to try guided writing. And so I went coming through. And
So,
I
Jean, I just wonder if you're on Wi-Fi connection because the sound is cutting out. So, if you are, we may have you stop your video,
okay.
some phone line, and join us by the phone. All right. And so, one of the things that I like to do is play plant music. Plant music is very interesting. And this music was recorded from a tree out in the forest. So we're just going to listen to a little bit of the plant music. I love the plants that we can bring in our home, like house plants. They make beautiful music. But when we go out and get those natural trees, there's just something about it that is just really amazing. So we're going to listen to my tree, let's see, Mabel. And this one is right here.
check again.
Hold on, everyone. We will get through these new earth technical difficulties and begin our program. An audio podcast again, but we thank you all for being. Okay, Jean, our line is stable. Thank you.
Okay.
Fear and so
Right. Right. I just I kept using the glyphs to remove anger and sadness and heartache and guilt, shame, and I held it all. I mean, it was holding a lot of stuff. And I didn't do this for anybody else. I was just doing it for me because I was just struggling uh, for sanity in this. And so as I got better and I felt better and just kind of what didn't happen overnight. It took a while. And then as I was just really doing great, people kept nudging me that they got that I should write a book, and I was getting the same nudging. So I did. It took me 3 years, but I did get the first book out. And I just went on from there. I started, the second book was on different parts of physical healing. I had a serious heart condition, and I healed myself with a glyph for the heart. And it just, my ex-husband, he had cataracts and glaucoma, and we healed him from that. As a matter of fact, 10 months ago, about 10 years, a few months ago, he wrote and said after 10 years, his glaucoma was still gone. He didn't need any medication, and his pressure was normal. And so I just, every gland and organ in the body, I wrote something for healing. And I wrote something for those of us from my era, many of us had tonsils and adenoids removed. And it's a mistake to think that when the body has had something removed, that it can't grow back. If you believe it can't, you're right, it can't. For you, it can't. But once you let go of that belief, there's a whole lot of ideas or beliefs that we have that keep us from advancing ourselves. Another one would be growing back new teeth. And when you think of people in the Bible who lived hundreds of years, surely they grew new teeth. But it is possible, but you have to let go of a lot of beliefs. And so I just continued with all that, the first book, and then the third book, and there was a lot of energy and breaking chakra links and healing the damaged brain, and just one after another. I had a little dog that we got from the Humane Society that would get car sick all the time. And I struggled to try to write a glyph for her, and finally, after a couple didn't work, I asked Source, I said, what am I missing here? Why can't I heal this dog? And I was told she had brain damage from starvation and dehydration as a puppy. And so I wrote a glyph. I was guided what to write, and we put it right on her. You can do it either way with a dog. If it's short-haired, you could put them on, but long-haired dogs and cats, you have to use a surrogate. It's just doesn't work that way. But we put it on, and we put that glyph on her top of her head. I put it on the Crown Chakra, and the book has drawings for the chakras for animals as well as people. And she rolled her eyes like, what's going on up there? But she didn't mind, and she slept with it for 2 months. We put it on her, and she never got sick in the car again. So I realized then that we could heal the damaged brain just with glyphs. And so I just continued with things that would completely amaze me. And as people were using them, I would get emails that would amaze me, because sometimes I couldn't believe I was really doing this. Lauren, are you still there? I just want to make sure I'm not talking to myself.
No, I'm here. The valid
Okay.
from you getting right, for you just listening to the heart, the inner nudges. That's your
Right.
angelic team, and just taking the steps and doing that. Amazing. And I love that you let go of a lot of these beliefs. You have to let go of some of these beliefs. These glyphs work on animals because animals don't have those beliefs in the way, right?
Right. And also, people sometimes say, do I have to believe in it for it to work? Well, the animals don't believe in anything, but they don't have any doubt. They don't have any skepticism. They don't have an ego. They're not asking, when is it going to start to work? I don't feel anything. And the humans, they have judgment. It's difficult for them to not see the book or hear about the glyphs, and right away there's a certain amount of judgment. Then that's normal. But everything puts out energy. And my feeling is, if anybody is too skeptical and really, then let it be. Very many people, right away they say, oh, yes, this is for me. I mean, right away they understand that this is something that they need. And so I continued on through the third book, and then I was told to write a fourth one, and I was even told what the title should be. And so I just kept plugging away and got another 33 glyphs. The first book has 30 glyphs, the second two have 34, and the fourth one has 33. And so I just did that. Every time, it takes a long time to do this, a long time. But I just kept working on it because I figured that's why I came here, that this is my job. And before, I had no idea why I'm here. I mean, I just was clueless about what my mission. Now I have no doubt. And from being where I didn't love anybody, I now do not know anything other than love. I'm here to serve humanity. And I tell people I'm married to my work. And unfortunately, I don't have time for any relationships or anything, because I came here to do this job, and this is I'm here to help people elevate their consciousness and prepare them for ascension.
Yes.
That's my job.
Thank you for listening to the call of your heart and truly stepping up and doing that and doing this work. A lot goes into it. So we're going to talk about each of your books and your latest book. So that's interesting. But again, you said that you've created glyphs for each and every gland and organ. So that's really quite amazing. And the way that you do it is also on your holy ground farm, the land that you have there too, in the beautiful sacred spot. Share a little bit about that, and then we're going to go into each of your books.
Yeah, we were literally guided to buy this place, and my ex-husband built me a nice home. And when we broke up, he gave it to me. I mean, he just gave it to me. And I'm grateful. Every time I look at all the work he did here, I'm grateful. And so then we had the dowsers from Georgia, First Georgia Dowsers group, come up, and they had meetings, and they'd run around with their little pendulums and their dowsing rods, and they said I had 3 vortexes here on the land, and the one, they said, was a really powerful vortex. It was on a 1 to 10, it was a 10 plus for healing. And he said, you ought to sleep on this spot. And I tried that in a tent, and I'm just not a camper. And so both my ex and I, we felt like we would build something, and we pictured it with stone and wood. And after we broke up, in a way, he worked with me for a long time, and he supported me in my work. But we didn't make the best partners in other ways. And so I went ahead and had a chapel constructed right at the site of this powerful glyph. And that's where I empower the glyphs. And it's if you go to my website at drjeanlogan.com, you'd be able to see the chapel there.
Yes, beautiful.
Mm.
Beautiful chapel. And so that's the background of these glyphs. It's really quite amazing. Again, not only did you heal yourself of a heart condition, life-threatening heart condition, your husband healed cataracts and glaucoma. We hear that just in yesterday's show, someone asked about healing the eyesight that seems to get worse. And so this is something that glyphs work for eyesight. How can you give the protocol for like we've heard of people with floaters in the eyes or cataracts or even glaucoma. What is the protocol for that?
Well, there's a glyph for it in the second book, and the thing we were guided with is not just to put the glyphs on the eyes, but there are other points of the body that the glyphs would go. Sometimes the glyph doesn't actually go right at a certain point. It usually goes to the most domineering chakra for the item. But for the eyesight, they had to put a glyph on the back of their neck, right where it connects to the skull. On each side, there's a kind of depression there, to put a glyph there and to put one under each of the arms. And I remember with my ex-husband, he had an appointment for surgery for cataracts and glaucoma, and I had, that night before, I had put them all on him. I had these glyphs all over him, and when he went into the doctor's office, he said, "Well, what are you doing here? You don't need surgery." And so that was amazing. But I also recommend, and I like to give people all the tools. I encourage people to use other tools also. And there was some eye drops on Amazon.com for the eyes, but he never used them. I bought them, but he didn't use them. He just used the glyphs. But it worked for him. But
That's great. How long did it take for him to do that?
We did it sporadically. Probably, he would have appointments that were like a month apart. So it may have taken about 2-3 months. But he would never put them on himself. I always had to put them on him. And so it was kind of hit and miss, but it worked anyway. But I have had people contact me, and one woman, she said it healed her glaucoma. Later she said it came back, but she realized she had gained weight and wasn't really working with anything program, and she started using them again, and it went away again. So it's an emotional thing. The thing to remember is all physical issues have an emotional source.
Yeah. And
you need to work on the emotional source. Otherwise, things come back. Well, think about cancer. How many times have we seen or had someone we know that felt like they were healed of cancer? Oh, I'm cancer-free now. And then within a few months or a couple of years, all of a sudden the cancer is back. And that is because they didn't heal the emotional issue. So I always encourage people to start with the first book, work with the emotional healing glyphs, and just keep working on. Use them a couple a day, and then use another one, and then start all over again. It took me a long time, but I think things have sped up a little bit. It seems to be moving a lot faster now.
Oh, the healing, you mean, from...
Right. Right.
That's kind of like the 100th monkey effect.
Right. Okay. Now, in the fourth book, I have a couple powerful glyphs that really are. There's one to remove nanotechnology from us, and it will also remove any microchips that have been put into us by some sinister application. Or I've heard of them being in the chemtrails. I don't know if that's true, but I don't put anything past dark forces. So when I use this one, now I have a very pristine diet. I don't eat processed food, but when I used this glyph, I could feel stuff leaving my body. It transitions it to light. But like I said, I don't go out and eat processed food. I don't rarely eat at restaurants. And so I was surprised that I felt so much. And then there was another glyph. There was a woman, one of the people using the glyphs that I communicate with in Canada, and she says, well, how about a glyph for trauma? And so I created one, and I was guided on I was told that would be a really good one. And I was even told the picture to give it, and I am often told what picture to use. And it was a feather with blood on it. Like a eagle feather that had blood on it. So when I use that glyph, I was amazed. And I think we've all been through trauma in our life. And was really surprised how much was leaving my body. And so there's other glyphs in there, one for energetic alignment and aligning the male and female energies. There's one, I did another one for vision. Now, the first one was to heal eye diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma. And this one was to heal vision problems like farsightedness, myopia, or nearsightedness, and astigmatism, and things like that. I've been working with it. I have not been told. What I'm getting is that there's a belief that I'm holding that's holding me back from 100% healing. I've healed at my eyes about 70%, but it's not 100% yet. But I didn't want to leave it out of the book because that was me. I'm holding a belief that I have not, somewhere that I have not released yet. And I don't want to stop anybody else from having the chance of working with that. The fourth book is an advanced book. It's a book where you have to, I would not recommend trying doing much with it until you start working with the emotional healing. But there's one to grow a new teeth, or to grow a new tooth where one is missing. A lot of you are probably a long way from letting go of that belief that we can grow new teeth. So that makes a big difference. One man who contacted me, he said, I'm dowsing and I'm getting to use the male, the glyph for the male reproductive system. And I said, well, is there any reason why you think it? He said, well, I had one testicle removed when I was a child. And I said, well, that's great. Just, if you should be able to grow that back. He said, well, I'll try it and see. And I told him, I said, no, you are not trying. You have to believe you can do it. It is not, I'll try. It is, I will. I will. We have to let go of so many of the things that we've been holding, the beliefs that we've been holding in us that are holding us back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, beautiful.
So,
mm-hmm.
Right. So I continued to go forward from there, and I don't have the list in front of me of all the glyphs that are in there, but there's one called the Morning After, and that is for women to use to prevent, like a morning after pill. And one woman tried it, and she said, I don't know if it was me or not, but she let me know a few weeks later. I just got my period, and I thought, well, we didn't know whether it was the glyph or not, and there was no way I could test it because I don't know anybody who's, just wasn't an opportunity. So, but a source gave that to me. He told me what to have it say. So he said women all over the world could use this. And so I went ahead and I put it in the book. Some people may find that objectionable. I'm sorry, but that's their feelings.
Yes. Well, I have the list here of your fourth book, and it really
good.
is fascinating. So, I mean, it is, so the previous books really help with that emotional level, and then various aspects in the body, and, healing brain damage, all of that. And so the fourth book, Sacred Symbols of the New Age, it really is the healing power of the great central sun. And so the nanotechnology, that's really interesting. So, there's, we've also talked about these glyphs being used for vaccinations.
Right. There's one that's in the second book. That's a very important glyph because we have healed dogs of seizures by removing vaccinations, and then there's a glyph for healing the damaged brain and one for neurological healing. And we have been able to stop seizures. And that's one they can't, when you take the dog to the vet, they want to give you a prescription of medication that doesn't really, it's really more like a sedative. And so many of these medications have side effects. And so a woman, and you can spend a fortune doing that. And one woman contacted me after they did that. They took the dog to the vet. And when she looked at the prescription of the possible side effects, she said, no, I can't do that to my dog.
Mm.
And so we got together on the phone. I told her what glyphs to use. And when she started, she had to put them on a surrogate because he had such tremors. 2 years old he was, a pit bulldog mix. And he had such tremors she couldn't put the glyphs on him. And she said the tremors stopped and the seizures stopped. And that's just amazing because they really don't have any answer for seizures. I think cannabis can help sometimes, but they're still fighting over that.
And you actually have a glyph for cannabis, so
right,
people can
right.
experience the benefits of it through a glyph, of marijuana through a glyph. That's beautiful. So here's a question. You're talking about the surrogates. How long can you use a surrogate to heal? That is, does it last just a day, a week, or how long before we have to renew it? The question says.
Okay, I want to explain how with a surrogate, I use, you can use either a stuffed animal or just a piece of paper. And what I'm told, what I understand, you can use it as long as you want, but think of these glyphs as your team. They have consciousness. They have intelligence. And you have this team working for you. So you set up your glyphs on a surrogate. And sometimes I'll program them for 30 days. But what I was told that to get touch base with them once a week. Tell your team, continue on with your work. Continue sending these energies to Uncle Joe or whatever. Now, when you using a surrogate for someone else, you do want to get permission from their soul. If you can't dowse, you simply make a statement. If the soul grants permission, and I've only had one occasion where the soul did not grant permission, so that's rare. And then you put the glyphs on whatever you feel, and you don't have to dowse. You can use your intuition. It's good if you can learn to dowse. And someone wanted me to write a glyph on helping people with dowsing, and the glyph would say, practice, 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 because that's what it takes with dowsing. Get a book, and it's really simple. It's nothing to keep you from doing it.
Yes, beautiful.
So, yeah, I would touch base with once a week, and you can keep on because, like for a heart condition, I was told to wear the glyph for 4 months. That's a long time. And if you put it on a surrogate, like I have my son-in-law, he has lung cancer, and I have glyphs on him, and I just touch base on a piece of paper for him, and I just keep, and it's been months. I just keep on working on it.
Through a surrogate for your son-in-law?
Yes, right.
Okay.
I have surrogates for every. When Bernie Sanders had his heart attack, I had surrogates for that too.
So then
his soul gave me permission.
Yes, his soul gives you permission. That is you asking the higher self.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned that you've got this glyph for nanotechnology. That's really interesting. We have a question. Can the healing glyphs remove negative entities or etheric implants?
Yes, there's a glyph to remove negative entities and one for etheric implants. Absolutely. Yeah, we got you covered there.
Yeah, there's literally, you've got so much. Do you have another book in mind? Because this is a lot of great information. Probably not right now, but is there another book?
I don't really plan another book. If there's something, I get that. If somebody gives me something that I feel people need. Now, I'm trying to stay with what people need. Now, I have some frivolous glyphs in there for those of us who are a vanity type thing, working on youthing, let's just say, which we need to we've been programmed to believe in aging. And as my feeling is, aging is a lie we bought into. If we have the power of God, then we have the power to renew ourselves. Absolutely. And I try to tell people with this virus, if you have the power of God, you don't need to fear a virus. You can just believe that you are immune. And I haven't had a cold or flu in over 15 years. But we can be immune. Fear is what lets it all in. So believing in our power, that is so important in making these things, just like if you have trying to regrow a part that's been removed. And people have done it. It's just that we believe we can't. But when you see a little lizard who loses his tail and he grows it back, how come he can do it and we think we can't? So we've been programmed to not believe in our powers.
Yes, absolutely. We call that BS, belief systems, false belief systems that we need to clear out. Well, in all of your books, what I'd like to clarify for those is that they're in a PDF. These books are in a PDF, and you've got sheets where you can print out these glyphs. And what people want to do is print out, you know, for me, I just grabbed some of my most favorites and print those out. And I have a folder where I keep them printed. And then you've got a piece of paper with it loaded with your glyphs, and you can cut these out as you need and wear these glyphs or put them on surrogates for other people. And Jean, you also, in one of your special offering packages, there's a practitioner session where you actually talk with, you have a consultation with people on how they can work with these with other people in their life.
Right.
Do you want to talk about that?
Right. In the first offering, we have the 3 books and some other bonus items. And then the second offering, I have pages of the empowerment glyphs. When I empower a glyph, I have an empowerment statement that I read during the empowerment ceremony. And I bundle them together to help people who wanted to workshop my glyphs. I kind of bundle them, of some 60 or so, together to help them in their teaching their classes. And I decided to put them as part of the offering. And then the consultation, normally I charge $150 an hour. And so we're just adding that, and we have that as a package for $197. The books and the empowerment statements and the consultation, 1 hour, which can be divided, and I recommend that 1 hour is more than you'll need, into 2 30-minute sessions. And I have no expiration dates on these. Sometimes people buy packages and they buy more into things than they can handle, and they'll come back to me a year later and they say, I just started using the Glyphs. Felt I was being guided. Can I still get my consultation? And I say yes. There's no expiration date on them.
No expiration date. And you get these PDFs with all of the books. There's a question here. Do you have one for tinnitus? And yes, you do, in this fourth book.
It's in the new book. Yes, right. It sure is. Now, what I advise people is when they buy these packages, print out all the table of contents and get yourself a binder and put them in a binder. And take time to read what's in these table of contents. Oftentimes people, they'll have the books and they'll say, do you have one for eyes? And they need to look at the table of contents.
Which lists every single glyph, yes.
Yeah, right. And so that way, and take some time, because just the 3 of them was 98 glyphs. So now we have well over 100. And so take your time. You're getting a powerful package. These glyphs are worth their weight in gold. They're like a powerful first aid kit. And don't let them get away from you. When you get them, make a backup copy And I often hear from people, they say, "Oh, I put my books in storage, or I loaned them to a friend, and I can't find them. And can you send me one?" And I said, people need to hang on to them for dear life, because they have such power. And if you don't understand it now, you'll be all of a sudden you'll realize that.
Yes. Well, I want to go over some of the ones in your latest book. You've got one for carbon C60. So this is interesting.
Right. And I asked, I said, can this work? And so I use, and a lot of it is they use olive oil. I don't like the taste of olive oil. It's okay in a salad, but not just taking a teaspoon. So I use, I'm using coconut oil, and I just put it next to my tea kettle when I warm it, because that does get hard, and the temperature's below 76 degrees. And with your mind, with your power of your mind, you can imprint. You can send the frequency in with the power of your mind, or also a remedy maker will do that as well, which sends frequencies from the glyphs into things. You can also turn these glyphs into a homeopathic type remedy. You can put the glyphs, tape them to a little dropper bottle, and put some water and some, I use a little whiskey or something in there as a preservative, or vegetable glycerin. And then with your intent, but once the glyph is on the bottle, the energy will go in there anyway. And it worked for me for allergies. I had hay fever, and I kept using the glyph all the time. And then I tried it on a dropper bottle full of water, and it worked just as well as the glyph. And now, after using it for some period of time, I don't have hay fever anymore.
I do not have hay fever anymore either. Thank you for these glyphs. It was amazing. Yes, really good. Very, very good. And I do want to just reiterate, what a very powerful tool, all of this. And I love your idea of the binder. It literally is like an encyclopedia for all this stuff. We're reviewing your fourth book, and there's things like, you already talked about energize and align. There's flowing fascia.
Right.
There's the vagus nerve. That's interesting. And then there's disabled tracking devices, among others. But let's start with flowing fascia. That's interesting. That's flexibility, or what?
Well, and supple, youthful skin. And this actually was suggested, and it was written by a woman in Scotland and her team over there. And they wanted that, and I said, "Well, I'll draw the picture. You write it up and tell me what you wanted to say." And she did, and of course, I run it by source each time. And that's fine, and it's really keeping supple, right? And when I used it, I could feel something happening. But I have so many glyphs that I can't use them all the time.
Yeah. All right. And so then there's the vagus nerve. How would someone use that?
We put it on our solar plexus. The vagus nerve, it's important to remember also, healing for the vagus nerve. You can also do deep breathing. That's important part of using the glyph without doing some deep breathing. It goes hand in hand. Some breathing exercises really helps your vagus nerve. But I was told, let's go ahead and put that in there because that is important.
Yes.
And it does tell where to put the glyph on there. I believe it's on the solar plexus.
Okay, instructions in this book on how to use these
each
glyphs.
glyph has instructions, and it also has a prayer or affirmation as well.
Yes. All right, a beautiful, beautiful item here. Really amazing. Let's talk about the disabled tracking devices. Now, tell us about this one. Yes.
I thought that I made that up, but I guess I didn't. Because I tried that. Because people can, the government or whoever, they can track you by your cell phone, and they can, if you have a car, unless you have an old car, they can track your car. And so we went ahead and did that, and I tried it. I had my son can track me when I go on a trip to see where I am, and I said, okay, check me out here. I'm going to town now. And he said he tracked me all the way to town. He said, yeah, it's, and I said, well, it's not working. And so finally I put everything into it I could think of, and it just wasn't working. And so I told Source, this isn't working. And I was told, this is an important glyph. So there's somebody out there who really needs something like that if you're involved in something that they may be tracking you. So what we did is I called upon spirit guides, and there are 2 spirit guides that attach themselves to that glyph that will, when somebody uses it, they can call on them by their name, Solomon and Abraham. But they're nevertheless, they will be there to help. Now, that I have not tested that out. I should test that out, but one of the things I've done is I have a glyph in there to repel mice, and when I asked Source, is there any glyph that should be removed, and I was told, yes, the one to repel mice would not work. I would need the energy of 10 to 20 people helping with the empowerment ceremony to have something that would repel a mammal, a rodent. And so I put a newsletter out, and I said, hey, everybody, who will help me with empowerment? And I got about 50 people, and that's why I need to learn Zoom. We'll get on a Zoom meeting, and they will help empower them, and that's really going to help a lot of glyphs, because there's one for dental that could use some help too, because we should be able to fix a lot of our things, that including our teeth.
Well,
so we're gonna empower that mouse. That mouse is gonna. That's important. Because we need to stop the poisoning of rodents, because it's killing our wildlife.
yes, and just
An owl or a hawk picks up a poisoned mouse or rat, and they can wipe out the whole nest. So, and there is no kind way to kill a mouse.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is interesting because let's put this out there that those who purchase these whatever option in your package, whether it's just the latest book or if people want to do the entire package or the consulting package, that we will put them in your next, we'll make sure that you know who those people are and they can join you for that empowerment Zoom meeting. Very, very good. All right. So everyone stay informed, but that would be very beautiful to do that as well. This is the power of our consciousness. Tell us a little bit more about the power behind this group effort in empowering the glyphs.
Right. That said, all the spirits in the world cannot do it for us. There has to be human energy. And when you're talking about something like repelling a mammal, somebody asked me if it could repel a groundhog from keeping it out of the garden. And I was told it was possible, but now after this I understand it would take a number of people, the energies of a number of people to repel a groundhog or even a deer, if you've got deers nibbling up all your flowers. So that's important to know.
Yes. Okay. All right. So I want to share as well that for your first 3 books, there's actually in this package 3 online healing retreats, and those are visuals where you're going over each of the glyphs and how people can use them and what they're used for. That's a nice bonus included when you purchase all of these books. So Jean, share with us about why people would want these books. I guess we've got these packages, and again, there's the latest book that's available, and then the package with all the books and all of those recordings that we did with those images. Very helpful for people.
Oh, absolutely. I haven't gone to a doctor in years. I have healed myself of so many things. And you cannot leave a veterinarian's office without dropping over $100 there. So many times we don't get the answers. And there are some things that just can't be resolved because they don't have the ability. I had one dog that had kidney failure, and it wasn't my dog, it was the neighbor's dog, and the vet recommended having it put to sleep. And I just put a glyph on a surrogate for it, and a week later they brought me that dog that was almost like it was just near death, and that was a happy, healthy dog. And you cannot heal a damaged kidney or a liver any other way. That's what these are. To me, they're miraculous. It's just absolutely amazing, especially with animals. They heal so readily. Now, I can't say it's 100% successful every time because sometimes the animal's just ready to go. Or people contact me after the dog has been through so much prescription medication that, I would say 90% of the time we're able to heal the animals.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. My dog got hit by a car and had to spend 3 days in the kennel, and we put the glyphs in the cage for her, and that seemed to help her. So it's beautiful. We can use these for our animals, for our family, for ourselves. I do want to share another personal story as well. I had a friend that was kind of scared. Again, here's that emotion, going to a doctor's appointment, a second doctor's appointment, and she felt certain to get some bad news. But she went to that appointment and was given a clean bill of health. And we had given her a few of these glyphs, including fear and right for the emotion, and also certain ones that are specific for health issues or organs and things in the body. And it worked. And that just is amazing. And we continue to hear stories like this. Jean, you hear from people all over the world how they've used this with their family members.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
And there's a glyph for malignancy, and it's been successful with breast cancer. And one man had prostate cancer, and he wrote a couple of them have written reviews for me because they had success with that. And the man said he was cancer-free. And I encourage the glyphs to be used not just for treating an illness, but for preventing a problem. You can prevent heart problems. I have people I know who have this set of books, and they have all of a sudden they had a heart attack and heart problem, and they had to go through surgery. And I said, "Did you try the glyphs?" No, I didn't think of it. And I thought, oh my goodness. So I encourage people, especially over 40, is to use the heart glyph because it will clear the plaque out of the arteries in the heart. And also in the back of the neck, too, these veins that we have in our neck get plaque in there, and that can remove that. I mean, what can do that except the power of God? Nothing could do that except the power of God.
And the heart glyph is in your first book.
Right, and prevention, I encourage women to take a strip of 4, each of these, we call patch pages. It has 16 of each individual glyph. And take 4 of them and just put it in your bra for a few days, and also the glyph for the lymphatic drainage, because a lot of problems in our breast, too, are from the congested congested lymph glands. And so there's a lot of them, and I tell in the 4th book I have an appendices. I have an appendix for protocols. That means if you've got somebody with dementia, what glyphs should you use? If you have, whatever different problems, and a lot of them that are emotional problems, fighting among children, fighting among animals, you can help that with a glyph. You just put on the glyphs for fear, for anger, and put the one for love. There's one called love. And I've had amazing stories about cats that didn't get along, and then after 3 days, they were best of friends. So, and that's important, to have peace in the house.
Yes. These are really good because you can literally use them for all facets. And again, I love the fact that it gets through to the emotions. And so, Jean, I mean, this is testimony in your own life again, because you know, you went through a divorce with your husband and you use these glyphs to heal that. And now you guys are business partners in a sense, or working as a team better
Yeah,
than when you were
right.
married.
Yes, we still, for years after we broke up, he would support me on. Without him, I would have never gotten to do the first book, because I started out. I had just little 3x5 cards, and he said, "You can't do this. You've got to get organized." And he started putting them in the computer, which we have this big manual called the Holy Ground Farm Glyph Gallery. And if it hadn't been for him doing that, I don't think I'd have made it. I don't know how I would have gotten to the first book going. And he believed in me, and that meant a lot. Even though we didn't get along in other ways, he did believe in me. And so we worked together long after that. And it didn't bother. He left me for another woman, and that's really okay, because I think she did me a favor in some ways, because now he's an invalid and she has to change his diapers, and I think that's okay. And I realized I needed to be alone to grow. And it was an important step in my life, and I had no hard feelings. I used the glyph. I took 5 glyphs and stuck them on my solar plexus when we were going through the divorce. The one for fear, for sadness, for resentment and anger and heartache and and it really was a help. It helped a lot, because divorce is painful no matter who wants a divorce.
Yes. And this is where it's literally our own intuition as we work with these glyphs and pick the ones that feel right for us and simply wear them or simply sleep with them in a pillowcase. It really is amazing. And this is incredible. And again, you really are the real deal here. These are empowered by great beings from the higher
And
realms.
the central sun, right. I did not even know that till just within the last year. I said, I was told, you need to understand the electrical energy of these. And I said, well, tell me. And I said that the intention, the program statement goes up to the central sun. The central sun sends down electrical impulses into the glyph. And the electrical impulses stay with the glyph as long as it's in good existence, as long as it's not damaged. And just sometimes people say, well, I think my glyph isn't working anymore. The glyph is always putting out energy. It's always putting out energy. So it's important to remember that.
The glyph is always putting out energy.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Expectations can get in the way, resentments or different things. And sometimes after it, at first when you use it, you may feel an intense reaction, and then it dies down because you're starting to heal. And I tell people, when you use it and pain goes away, keep using it. Don't quit just because the pain goes away. You want to get to past that point when if just you want to do more than get rid of pain. You want it to heal completely.
Yes. Well, there is one for virus in one of the books, but you've also got one for resolving all viruses in this latest book.
Right. I was told there would be a serious a pandemic. I was told this was coming, and that this glyph would resolve any virus that was being created by dark forces. But it's also for AIDS. I was asked to help children in Africa, and that was the image that was given to me. And the thing about if you're trying to treat AIDS or Lyme disease, you need to be able to keep that glyph on you for at least a week, 10 days or more, because it takes time. A virus, if you some people, they put it on overnight and then they take it off, but then the virus may take an opportunity to replicate itself. So for like something like AIDS or Lyme disease that mutates, any mutating virus, you need to spend time using it. And I even say take it to a place that then embosses T-shirts and have it embossed on a T-shirt, a couple of them, so you can take them off and put them on again, or whatever you can do, or if you can use a surrogate. But I want to tell people, if you use a surrogate, believe in what you're doing. When you do, you're sending that energy. You're empowering it to send it to somebody, and believe in doing that. If you think, I wonder if it's going to work, you cut your energy in half. So how well it works depends upon your power of intention.
The power of intention. Yes.
Right.
The power of belief. We hear that over and over and over again. And that's what you've learned personally in this whole process, is that your belief is everything. And those who use these glyphs, their belief is everything as well. And again, when you see it work with the animals, they don't have beliefs, and so they get much better response to these glyphs. It really is quite amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really is.
Beautiful work, Jean. I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak with you today. And although we didn't get to see your beautiful face, we got to hear your voice and your beautiful experience and this new celebration of book 4 of these healing glyphs. And I do have to say, everyone, the package here, if you've already got Jean's book, $33 for her latest book. It's a download. Again, you'll print these out. You'll print the pages. She even said you could take, if it's necessary, you could print it on a t-shirt, one of these glyphs, and wear that t-shirt, sleep in that t-shirt. That's for some deeper cases. But then we've also got a package with all of her books and the 3 online healing retreats that we did with her first 3 books, a wealth of information. And if you're a practitioner or want to use these in a personal consult with Jean, there is another option for that. And so this is a beautiful way to work with these incredible tools in your own life. As you heard from Dr. Jean, she has not been to a doctor in years, no prescription drugs. She's healed herself from a heart condition, and she's helped many, many other people heal their body. This is a tool. These are tools that allow your body the harmony and the space to heal. And as she said, these glyphs are constantly pouring energy from the great central sun. Thank you, Jean. This is amazing.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to everybody.
Well, keep up the wonderful, awesome work that you're doing. We will check back with you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And everyone, we thank you too. And if you like this, you can find the link to Jean's special offer right here on this webpage. It's waiting for you. And it's amazing when you begin to start working with these sacred healing glyphs. Jean, I want to give you a moment to wrap up before we say goodbye and close our sacred circle.
Well, I just want to say it's an honor that I honor everybody who has joined us. I'm very grateful for this time, and I want to send you my love and many blessings.
Well, we receive your love and many blessings. And we thank everyone for being here. Your light is so important on this planet right now that all of these conversations are designed to empower you to fully stand on new earth. And we thank you so much for being here and shining your light and now speaking your truth. I know many have hesitation to do that, but really it is why we came here. And this is where Jean herself knows her purpose, stepping into her purpose. And I think that all of these glyphs support us in speaking our truth and stepping into our mastery, as well as cleaning up the health issues that we may be experiencing. So thank you, Jean, and thank you everyone for this quantum conversation. We
Thank
dance
you.
our way to the cosmic heart. Namaste. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light.